Hi everyone, good morning. This is the last day of week 6 of our training plan. It's actually Sunday, but we treat Monday as the first day of the week. So today's our final day of week 6. Week 6, the main thing we had going on from a training perspective was a ramp test at the beginning of the week to establish our current or hopefully new FTPs. And then the rest of the week was in active recovery. So it was after the ramp test, it was a pretty easy week. But the other workout during the week was a threshold workout, but it was pretty short, just 2 by 3 minute threshold efforts in zone 4. And then there were a couple of endurance rides, which we're splitting into Saturday and Sunday. We did 1 hour on the biker. Today we're giving it another shot to ride outdoors. If you saw the last video that Joy posted, you'll know that we tried to ride outdoors last week, but we were on a rail trail and we ran into a lot of patches of ice. So that it was pretty much unrideable. We gave it a shot, but the patches of ice just kept continuing. It kept getting worse and worse, so we just pulled the plug on that one and unfortunately had to finish that ride indoors. Today we'll be riding on the road, so I don't foresee any issues with ice.
I think there might be some ice. We have to keep an eye on it, but right now it's the car says 37, so hopefully that's nothing.
Yeah, so I mean, we're thinking that if there is any ice out there today, it should be somewhat limited. That's kind of the overall recap for the week. Now back to the ramp test. My performance on the ramp test was pretty disappointing. I ended up with an FTP of 195, which is actually down 1 from what I was at 196. So it's basically unchanged. I'm not gonna make too big of a deal off it going down by 1. Yeah, I basically consider that to be unchanged. But it is disappointing because I was pretty confident that my FTP was gonna be a little bit higher. I felt like my overall fitness has improved over the last month or so since the last time we took the test. And I also felt like my power is slowly getting better, so I was a little surprised that I wasn't able to do better on the test. As far as what happened during the test, I successfully completed the 1 minute at 260 watts, and it was getting tough at that point. I really felt like I still had something left in the tank. I decided to put the resistance up a notch, thinking it would be easier to get the higher watts up to 280. But as soon as I put that resistance higher, my legs just failed. So I learned that basically my leg strength wasn't good enough to handle that higher resistance. So in hindsight, I might have been better off by just keeping the resistance the same and trying to spin faster, faster cadence on the same resistance to generate the watts I needed. But overall, I mean, I could have approached the test a little bit better, I think, and maybe got a slightly better result. But I think the result that I got, I think, was pretty fair and indicative of where my fitness is, and it was kind of a reality check that I didn't really improve significantly over the last month. So that's kind of where I'm at. It was disappointing. It gives me extra motivation to train hard in this next training block, and hopefully I'll get a better result next time.
So I posted a couple months ago my ramp test results, my initial ramp test results, and the first time I did the ramp test, I was pretty disappointed because I thought that my fitness level was higher than what it showed. So my initial ramp test results was 140 watts as my FTP, and then about a month ago, a little over a month ago, before we started this training plan, I did another ramp test, and the results were that my FTP was 153, and I improved a little bit, and still I was disappointed in the results. And then Tuesday, I was supposed to do the test on Monday, but I wasn't feeling well, and so I thought maybe if I just push it off a day to get an extra day of rest and for having fresh legs, I thought maybe that would be a good strategy. And so Tuesday morning I did the test, and my result came out to be a new FTP of 168. I was thrilled with that result, and I couldn't be any happier. Of course, I would like to continue to improve. Coming from a 13 watt increase previously to a 15 watt increase is definitely a big plus for me. And I know that my FTP was around the 160s, and having that reality check, like Jason said, kind of brings you down. But definitely all that hard work, and I don't think it's just the workouts. And Jason and I both do the same workouts. We actually share the same training plan. We adjust it based on our FTP, and so I don't think it's just the workouts improved my score. I think that doing the strength training, a lot of the single leg workouts or strength training workouts definitely benefited me. Yeah, so I think those single leg isolation workouts, making sure that each leg gets the same amount of resistance, definitely helped with that increase in FTP. I know that at the end, towards the end, when I got closer to 240 or 220, I think, that 1 minute increment where it's 220 or 240, I can't remember, all of that is pure strength endurance or muscular endurance.
So one difference in our training has been that my leg strength training exercises have been pretty limited or very low intensity. I mean, I do some squats and Bulgarian squats and lunges and things like that. Single leg partial squats, but it's pretty much either body weight that I'm either using body weight or very, very lightweight. It's like a weight that's really not challenging for me, and the reason I've been backing off on that is because of my knee and trying to get that recovered better, because for a while I had been adding weight to, I had been doing squats and deadlifts with weight, and once I built up to a weight that felt challenging, I started getting knee pain. So I kind of backed off on that for the time being, and I don't know if that's the reason why. I think that's probably a reason why my legs haven't gotten stronger. I do feel like they've gotten stronger to some degree from just cycling perspective, just from doing some of these workouts. I think my gains from the workouts we've done have been more related to lactate threshold and ability to tolerate the lactate buildup better than I used to. I mean, that's definitely improved, but I think when you're doing a ramp test and you get up to a watt number that requires you to really activate your leg muscles, at that point, it's your lactate tolerance is only going to take you so far. I mean, if eventually you're going to get up to a number of watts that are just beyond what you're used to, and your leg muscles have to work really hard to get those watts. And if you don't have the leg strength, you're just not going to move the pedals powerfully enough to generate those watts. So that may be one difference in our training that has led to our different performance in the ramp test. But I'm going to try not to jump to too many conclusions off of my my disappointing performance. I mean, it happened. I'm gonna try to move on from it, and you know, hopefully do better next time. And I just want to say that I'm really happy for Joy and the result that she got, and I'm very proud of her. I was honestly surprised that I figured she was gonna increase her FTP, but I honestly was surprised at just how much she increased it. And I was watching her do her ramp test, and I got really excited when she was on the round of 220, where you're doing 220 watts for a minute, and she handled that nicely. And I think that's where she failed last time on the previous test, and she just crushed it. So I was very proud of her for that.
Yeah, and I think that some of you may feel dismayed by if you're not seeing improvements in your FTP. These things do take time to build, especially if he is unable to add any weights to his strength training workouts.
Yeah, I mean, it could just be that my body needs more time to adapt to the training, and that it might just take me longer to see results, than I had thought. But I think I've learned to be a little bit more patient with things due to my knee injury, because that's been a big test of patience.
Okay, so just got here. We're at Huntington State Park, and we are parking here so that we can do our, it's about a 25-mile ride, and testing out, again, the power meter and the Wahoo Element for navigation. And yeah, hopefully we get a good ride in. It seems as though this is a slightly higher elevation than where we live, and so there's some snow on the ground. Hopefully that doesn't impact our ride too much. Hopefully it's not too slippery. We still have the Gravel King tires in, so they actually worked well last week for a little bit when we were riding in a rail trail. So yeah, we'll take you guys along with us.